I never expected silence from him. I braced for a reaction, an argument, a question, anything. But instead, his face just froze. There was this unsettling stillness, the kind that silently tells you there's no coming back from what you just said. Like the damage has settled in, and nothing you say now can reverse it. If you've ever spoken your truth and watched it devastate someone, this story might feel familiar. And if you've unintentionally pushed someone away, leave a comment. You're not the only one. It happened on a Tuesday. Just a plain evening in our everyday life. The kids had finally dozed off after the usual mess, spilled juice on the floor, a missing folder, complaints about bath time. And then there we were, on opposite ends of the couch. He had his phone in hand. My laptop sat open, untouched. We weren't arguing. We just weren't anything. I can't even remember how it started. Maybe he said something small, about how we hadn't spent time together lately. Or maybe he mentioned that old couple we used to hang out with, the ones still going on weekly date nights. I think I laughed and said something like, "They're soulmates. That's not really us." That's when he looked up at me. And instead of stopping myself, I said it. "We're not soulmates, you know. We're just parents." And in that moment, I believed it. I wasn't trying to be cruel. I was just tired. Tired of how our days had turned into survival mode. Laundry, work, bills, bedtime stories. Somewhere along the line, we stopped being a couple and just became mom and dad. Saying it out loud felt like summoning a ghost. But I didn't see it as a punishment. I meant it as a truth we hadn't named. He didn't take it that way. He didn't protest. He didn't say a word. He just gave the faintest nod, like he'd been expecting this moment. And then came the silence. Not the bitter kind. Not even angry. Just hollow. Like all the sound had been vacuumed out of the room. The next morning, he was up before me, getting breakfast ready, packing lunchboxes, laying out tiny socks and t-shirts, just like always. But when I stepped out of the shower, I saw it. The closet doors open, a half-packed duffel on the bed, and his drawers half empty. There was no letter. No long explanation. Just his wedding ring placed gently on the dresser. That crushed me in a way nothing else could have. Still wrapped in a towel, water dripping onto the carpet, I sat beside it, staring at the band of gold like it might say something, offer a last-minute clue. But it didn't. It just stayed there. Cold. Final. I thought he'd be back later that day. Or maybe the day after. But one day slipped into the next, and then a week went by. The only thing I received was a single text message. "I heard you. I won't make this harder." That was it. I tried to convince myself this was for the best. That being honest mattered more than holding it all in. That maybe now, we'd both have a shot at finding someone more compatible. But truthfully, I missed him. Terribly. I missed the way he'd pour my coffee just how I liked it, even when I forgot. I missed how he made the kids giggle on days when my patience was running thin. I missed the quiet presence beside me, the calm, the comfort. And I hated that my emptiness had been louder than my love. We hadn't been picture perfect. Not for a long time. But there were still parts of us worth salvaging. I just didn't say that part out loud. I only said the part that cut deepest. Being just parents is more than a label. It's sharing a world so tightly woven together, it's hard to see where the love ends and the routine begins. I mistook familiarity for failure. And in doing that, I made the man who stood by me through everything feel like a burden, when he was anything but. He never accused me. Never raised his voice. Never told me I was heartless. He simply left, because I made him feel like he was no longer chosen. The kids kept asking where he was. I gave them polished lines. "He's just taking some time. We're working on things." But at night, once they were asleep, I would sit alone and replay that sentence over and over in my head. We're not soulmates. We're just parents. Until it began to sound like a lie. Because the truth is, he wasn't just anything. He was the man who held me together during my lowest moments, who learned how to braid our daughter's hair better than I ever could. The man who quietly grieved beside me after our miscarriage, never making it about his pain. He was love, constant, patient, unwavering, and I didn't realize it until I was sitting in the space he used to fill. Eventually, I typed out a message to him. I said something I believed at the time, but I didn't tell you the whole truth. I'm scared. I'm worn out. I miss you. You're not just the father of our kids, you're still the person I want to grow old with. I'm sorry I didn't say it when it mattered. But I never hit send. Maybe he's found peace now. Maybe he's mending in ways he couldn't when he was drowning in my silence. Maybe the door I closed is one he no longer wants to walk through. But I needed to write it, if only for myself. What I've learned is this: truth without care can sound like rejection. Honesty without context can come off as goodbye. And words, words, can stay lodged in someone's soul far longer than we ever realize. If you've ever pushed someone away with something you thought was harmless, or if you've got words still stuck in your throat, it's not too late. Be brave. Don't let fatigue speak in place of your heart. Don't mistake comfort for emptiness. And don't wait until they're gone to realize that love doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just shows up. Day after day. Quiet, steady, and real. If this resonates with you, share your thoughts in the comments. I read every one. And if you value raw, unfiltered stories like this, subscribe. This is real life. I didn't lose him because I stopped loving him. I lost him because I stopped saying it.